Hey everyone, welcome back once again to our CA Foundation Business Economics series where we are discussing business economic concepts in the most quick and practical manner. So without wasting much time, let's get back to the video. So today we are covering chapter 9 International Trade, in which we will cover unit 3 Trade Negotiations in this video. So here is the introduction. Trade negotiations are processes in which countries agree on the terms of trade, tariff rates, and other regulations to facilitate smooth cross border trade. They occur through bilateral, regional, and multilateral discussions aiming to enhance trade and economic cooperations. So, key organizations and agreements such as WTO, that's World Trade Organization, play an essential role in ensuring a transparent and fair global trade system. So then comes taxonomy of regional trade agreements, also known as RTAs. So RTAs are agreements between countries that will reduce trade barriers and encourage economic cooperation among members. So they vary based on the depth of integration. First comes unilateral trade agreements. So one country reduces trade barriers to promote economic ties with others. Example, the generalized system of preferences GSP, where developed countries offer developing nations reduced tariffs on exports. Second comes bilateral agreements. So here agreements between two countries to reduce trade restrictions on goods and services. An example is the ASEAN India Free Trade Area Agreement. Then comes regional preferential trade agreements. So here a group of countries offer trade preferences exclusively to members. So example is the global system of trade preferences among developing nations or developing countries. Then comes trading bloc. So a group of countries forms a free trade zone with a common external tariff. So example, the European Free Trade Association, EFTA, also known as EFTA. Then comes customs union. So here member countries trade freely with each other and adopt a common external tariff on non-members. So example is the EU, that's the European Union. Then comes common market. So here it allows free movement of goods, services, labor and capital among member states with a unified external tariff. Example could be the South American Common Market, also known as MERCOSUR. I may be spelling it wrong or pronouncing it wrong. MERCOSUR, Mercure. Then comes economic and monetary union. So here member countries share a common market, currency and harmonize economic policies. Example is the Eurozone in the EU, that's European Union. Then comes the General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, also known as GATT. So here it is established in 1948. GATT was a foundational trade agreement aimed at reducing tariff and other trade barriers. So it facilitated several negotiation routes, ultimately covering goods and services and establishing rules for international trade. However, GATT faced challenges due to increased global trade complexity and lack of binding enforcement mechanisms. Then the Uruguay round and the establishment of WTO. The Uruguay round, that is 1986 till 1994, was the most comprehensive negotiation under GATT, addressing various trade aspects including tariffs, agriculture, intellectual property and trade in services. So it led to the creation of the WTO, World Trade Organization, in 1995, providing a stronger institutional framework for a global trade with mechanism for dispute resolution and policy review. So there will be a mechanism for in case there is any dispute and to review the policies. Example is WTO agreements now cover over 95% of world trade, supporting a predictable trade environment. Then comes the World Trade Organization, WTO. So the WTO is a global institution that manages and enforces trade agreements aiming to promote free and fair trade. So here are some key functions. First is facilitating trade negotiations. So it provides a platform for members to discuss trade liberalization. Then comes enforcing trade rules. So it ensures compliance with agreement and provide dispute resolution. Then comes supporting developing countries. So it assists in trade policy formulation and capacity building. Example, the WTO dispute settlement system has resolved conflicts between member countries on issues like anti-dumping duties, tariffs, and intellectual property rights. Then comes the Doha round. So initiated in 2001, the Doha Development Agenda aimed to reduce trade barriers, especially for developing countries. So here, key areas of negotiation includes agriculture subsidies, service trade, and intellectual property. However, disagreements, particularly on agricultural reform, led to limited progress in achieving Doha round objectives. So here are some disagreements. Then comes G20 economies facilitating trade. So the G20 economies have played a significant role in addressing global trade issues, especially during economic crisis. So their cooperation helped stabilize trade flow during events like the COVID-19 pandemic and ongoing geopolitical tensions. Example, in the recent G20 members have implemented facilitating measures, reducing tariff and improving access to critical goods like food and medicine. A numerical example to understand the tariff reduction in trade agreements. Consider a scenario where a bilateral trade agreements means agreement between two countries reduces tariff by 10% between two countries, increasing trade volume by 50 billion. So if the original tariff was 20%, the reduction will bring it to 10%, effectively making imported goods cheaper, promoting higher trade volumes. Then comes MG extras. So here are two activities for us. Research trade agreements. So select a RTA involving India and another country. Analyze how tariff reduction under this agreement has impacted key sectors or key industries. Second is explore the WTO dispute resolution. So study a recent WTO dispute involving India and identify the resolution process and what was its outcome. Then comes the conclusion of this video or chapter. Trade negotiations and agreements through organizations like the WTO foster a cooperative trade environment, enhancing economic growth and development. By reducing barriers and ensuring fair practices, these agreements contribute to a balanced and transparent global trade practice system, benefiting both developed countries as well as developing countries. So that's it in this video. Thank you for watching. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep rocking. Bye bye.